Welcome back, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2, the 1% Club. And hope you guys are doing well today. It's a great day, always a great day. And it's wonderful to kind of see all the great warriors out there who are sticking to their plan and doing great things out there and becoming better men, more masculine men. And for those women in the audience, continue being great women as well and great warriors. Women are warriors as well. And the whole idea is that we're trying to make sure that we become the best person possible. And one of the secrets of life to me, and I've discovered this a little bit later in life, and as I'm 60 years old right now, but one of the great secrets of life is this journey that we're on right now. And the journey really will get us to the final goal. That's kind of what I want to talk about today a little bit. And I've had some questions on this and going back with this. And I don't usually kind of focus on a whole episode or show on this. But I do want to kind of focus on this a little bit today, because I think it's important to kind of, where I'm coming from with this and know that why I'm so strong on this. We're going to title this one, God is an Awesome God. And it was a great song by, I think, Richard Mullins or someone like that years ago that really talked about God being a great God, an awesome God. And let's kind of delve into this a little bit, and I'll kind of give you my feelings and my ideas through the whole thing as well. So, I think that we have to kind of go back to what we're looking at. We kind of look at who we are, what we are. And I think that's a key component of this whole thing. Who we are and what we are. And I think that when you look at this, we talk about us being matter and energy. And I'm not going to use the emotional human type of thing about this, but we go back and we look at what are we as people. And because we're matter energy, there is something that runs us, something that pushes it together, almost like when you get a spark of an engine, a spark of something runs the engine. I don't think people have ever totally figured out what that was, but it starts the car. And the same thing happens with us. Something starts us, makes us go, and keeps going. And I believe that's inside of us, something that our Creator created for us. And I think the key to the whole thing is to realize that we are, a person who is created. And I think because of that, then you can kind of look at the awesome types of figure that is your creator. And I think this is why, as time goes on, a lot of people, they go into religion, but they go also into trying to figure out if I was created, which most people end up moving to. I know that when I was younger, evolution was always a discussion between evolution, those type of things, and Darwinism, and talking about the evolution of man and things like that. And there's always been this discussion, and in science, there's always this discussion back and forth between trying to have creation as compared to just things happening haphazard. And I think when you look at this whole thing, as people get older, they come to realize, and maybe it's because they have this voice within them that allows them to listen to that voice, that at some point they realize that they were created. Something created them, and something that's bigger than they are. And I think that if you're any kind of smart person, you're going to want to say, okay, what was this that created me? What happened here? I mean, you can't just believe that, and because we're people of order, we just can't believe that you're just going to go ahead and just be created out of thin air, and nothing, those type of things. So we have to have something that created you. So you have to serve somebody as a God, and you either serve yourself, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people are their gods, and they have what they call idols, and they're their idols, right? Or they have a piece of wood or something that they create that they believe is their idol, their God. Or you believe in something that created you. And if you believe in something created you that you can't see, this is what we call faith. And the whole idea is that we have to have some belief in something. Now, even people who are atheists, agnostic, when you have people who don't believe, they really have a belief. They just don't believe in the same kind of creator or God that you do. And we have a lot of different religions out there, and I'm not going to judge one religion over another religion at this point, but we have to agree that there is some sort of creator. And I think in my case, God is a tremendous creator, and Jesus Christ is a tremendous creator, and there is something inside of me that has been saving me in many situations in my life. I remember when I almost committed suicide when I was like 17, 18 years old, and something all of a sudden came on the screen. It was the TV was going in the background or something, and it was a 700 Club. And basically what happened was I was able to listen and decide not to give up. And I think that that's kind of the thing that we do. And this is a long, long time ago, but there's been a lot of situations, not as bad, and I haven't really had those thoughts in many, many years. But I still remember those because I always go back to those type of thoughts, remembering that I think part of it now was because of my relapsing and all the things going through, that it's very easy to lose all the things that you gained because of that. And I think that's something that is an insightful thing that I've just gotten in a few minutes ago since I'm doing this. That's probably why I ended up doing that, because a lot of people when they're younger especially, and they release so much and they basically do that, they get into bad spots. And I believe as I look at things over the years, a lot of that became the reason that I was in bad spots. And I think the relapsing and all these things hurt me more than helped me, and actually made the situation worse, and in fact I think created the situation. And now that I'm thinking about this, I think this is kind of what ends up happening. So when you go back to thinking about this, your natural inclination as a human being is to try to figure out, well, how can I get closer to this creator, this God that I have? And in my case, I believe that in reading a lot of information and going back to a lot of things with the Fountain of Youth and autobiography of Malcolm X and other people that I've kind of looked at as well, it's very easy and possible to see that one of the ways to do that is to keep what you have and nourish it, and keep your body as a temple of God. And temple of God means that you're basically really using yourself and taking care of yourself to make sure that you are the strongest person you can be, but also being ready to be faithful and to pray and to meditate and do those type of things that are going to get you closer to God. With all the distractions around us, with all the things around us, it's very easy to get caught up and distracted all the time. And I think part of the battle we have is not to allow the distractions to get in. To keep focusing on our goals, keep focusing on our Creator, keep focusing on all the things that make us strong, and to be able to really become that type of person that can be the best person we can be. In order to be like that, we have to actually kind of figure out, how do I get closer to the Lord? How do I get closer to God? How do I get closer to the person who created me? And so I think that as you look at this journey you're making, you realize how awesome this God is to you. You realize how important this God is to you. And you realize that one of the reasons you're doing all this is to become that person who is a co-creator, and using all the powers and things you have to be able to become the best person, and more importantly, to follow the God's purpose for you. And I think that's the other part of this whole equation that we look at, that God has a purpose for you, and you have to kind of go ahead and say, okay, what is the purpose that God has intended? Well, part of this is communicating to God, and to be able to say, how can I communicate to God? Well, the way to communicate to God in my way, and the communication becomes better and better. And I'm seeing this, and I think this is part of the change in me. I'm in 527 days, and 50 days in monk mode, I believe that's part of the change in me that I'm seeing now, is the fact that my communication with the Lord is much better, is much clearer, and I see things a lot easier than I did before. And I think part of that reason is because of the journey, because of retention. And I think as you're retaining, you're creating more of that temple of God that you should have. And I think it's important to recognize that you want to be somebody that has that strong temple, and that's that person who is going to be taking care of that body. So you're not going to put things in your body that's going to hurt your body, right? And I think this goes back to the whole key situation, is that you don't want to hurt what God gave you. And I think this is why you then go ahead and retain, and you're on that decision-making process, and then you go ahead and say, okay, now I can better my communication, and I can listen to the Lord more. So my goal in all of this is, I'm doing a journey, is that I wanted to not only become the best person I could become, and that was my goal, 30 years ago when I started using the Fountain of Youth and things like that. But then as I realized this, what it really is doing is bringing you closer and closer to your Creator. And now you have a relationship with the Creator, and you're not living in the worldly things. And this is what the Bible talks about as well, is that we should not be living in worldly things. And this is an interesting type of comment, which I didn't really understand totally. But now as I look at this and we deal with principalities and spirits, we don't really deal with the worldly things. Yes, they're in front of us. We see all these things going on, but it's kind of like an illusion. Once again, this is this blue matrix we're talking about, right? The red matrix is talking about what is the really relationship that you have with the Lord, and those type of things that you have. So again, and we'll do another kind of video on this a little bit later, but we'll talk about this idea is that you are really somebody who should be getting closest to the Lord as possible. And part of that really is focusing on trying to become the best person you can become, and communicating to that awesome God you have. All right, guys, until next time, battle on.